changes, what do we mean by changes? See, changes is any digression from the path. Okay, whatever we are supposed to do, if you are not doing that, then it's a change. A person A was supposed to do the work, but now B is doing. It's a change. I was supposed to do work 1, but I'm doing work 2. It's a change. Right? I wanted to do A first and B later, but currently I'm doing B first and A later. It's a change. Right? So whatever we have decided in the plan, if we are not following it, then it's a change. It could be because the customer has added or reduced the scope, or because we have made a mistake in the project, and because of which we are now carrying out the change. Why would those changes happen? One, because of market competition. Our competitor came up with a new feature, new product, new functionality. We also will have to meet that, otherwise we will lose the market share. So that could bring some changes. Inaccurate initial estimates. When the team was estimating at a rough order of magnitude during initiation stage, they made some inaccurate assumptions, and because of which the estimate is inaccurate. So now we will have to make some changes. Customer changed the specification. They wanted something ABC. Now they were looking for XYZ. So they have changed the specification, because of which there will be change in the project. When we were collecting the requirements, we missed certain requirements. We could not collect all the requirements. That will bring some changes. Or the official body or the government may come up with some regulations. And this new regulation is impacting our project, and hence we are making some changes. Right? These are very common causes of changes. That does not mean that they are only cause of change. Okay, but changes can happen majorly because of these reasons. And whenever change happens in a traditional approach project, there will be multiple people involved in managing the project, because you have planned for the entire project at once. Right? You have planned for scope, schedule, cost, quality, resources, risk management, procurement management. Right? You have planned for everything. Now, if one change happens in that project, it could impact many things. One resource coming out of the project, it will impact so many activities. One risk happening in the project, so many activities, right? So what we need to do in traditional approach project is we need to control the change in an integrated fashion, which means we need to look at change on how it will impact all the different aspects of my project. If one resource goes away, how will it impact my cost, schedules, scope, quality, and everything? Right? Let's go back to our first definition of project management. That a project manager balances those 6 constraints: scope, schedule, cost, risk, resources, quality. Any change that you make will impact these constraints, and you have to balance that. So in traditional approach project, we have to control those changes through integrated fashion. That's why we involve multiple people in dealing with the change. Customers and stakeholders who might ask for change, team members who might identify the change or who might analyze for the change, project manager who would check the analysis done by the team and who will discuss with the approving authority, who will approve, reject, or defer the change for some other period. Right? So there are 4 different parties involved whenever you are managing changes in the project. Customer, stakeholder, or the team member may ask for change through a change request. Now, change request can be through a software, can be through an email, can be verbal, right? But it's a change request. It has been asked. The team will record it in the change log or whatever register that they are keeping to manage the change. Right? So change will be requested by the customer or the team member. Then the team member will analyze the change. Team members, not just one member. They will analyze the change for its impact on the project. Right? Customer is asking, no, remove the color red, make it white. Team will check, okay, if I move the change, I will have to purchase the paint, I will have to remove this paint, I will have to return the paint. So many activities involved. How will it impact the schedule? How will it impact the cost? How will it impact the quality? Right? So team will create that impact analysis report. The project manager will check that report. If there is any change, then they will suggest it will be changed and the report will be finalized. Then they will discuss this change with CCB, Change Control Board. Nothing but the approving authorities. Okay. So the project manager will discuss this report with the approving authority, who will review the report, and then they will accept or reject the change. Okay. The change will be requested by the customer or the team member. It can be requested by anyone for that matter, because once you say stakeholder, you are covering everybody in the project. Right? So change can be requested by anybody. Team need to first understand the change and analyze for the impact. How will this change impact my project? That impact discussion will happen with the project manager. Project manager will discuss with the change control board. Change control will review the report and they will either approve or reject the change. That's how the change is approved and rejected. But that's not how you manage the change. This is just half of it. Once the change is rejected, you will inform the customer that it is rejected. You will inform the team it is rejected. It's done. But if it is approved, the team will first change the plan. Whatever the plan was there. First, they will change the plan. Then they will implement these changes. After that, it will be delivered to the customer. Okay, so it started with a change request. So whoever had raised the change request, the changes will then be shown to them and will be finally delivered to the customer. But this is also not the end of the change management. After having delivered the changes that you have implemented, it is very, very important that you check whether the change was successful or not. See, somebody is requesting a change because of certain reasons. You have understood the change, you understood the objective of change, you have analyzed the impact of the change. Right? After you have delivered it, should you not check whether it was successful or not? Yes, you should. Right? So this is how a change is managed in traditional approach project. Anybody can raise a change request. Team will analyze the impact. Project manager will check the report that the team has created. They will discuss with the approving authorities, change control board. The approving authorities or change control board, for that matter, will review the report. They will approve or reject. Depending on whether they are rejected, if they are rejected, just inform that it is rejected. If it is approved, change the plan, implement the changes, deliver to the customer, and then check whether your change was successful or not. That's how a change is managed in traditional approach project. How is it managed in Agile? It is done by the product owner. Right? The analysis, the discussion, everything. Right? They don't have to discuss with anyone. So they will conduct the analysis and they will decide whether the change is required or not. For scope changes. If the requirement changes, functionality changes, scope changes, user story changes, then the product owner will decide alone. Because in Agile, you anticipate a lot of changes. You have not committed yourself for the entire project. So you don't have to worry about the integrated impact on the project. Hence, you don't need all these different type of parties involved in change. So you have very simple structure. Product owner will decide for all the scope related changes. For technical changes, okay, the team will decide. They are doing it through this way and they want to do it through this way. No problem. Team will decide. They don't even need to tell anybody. Team is self-organized. They are in a position to decide collectively, not a team member. Right? One person cannot say that, okay, I was doing it through A, now I will do it through B. They cannot decide that. When they are trying to decide that they should do it through B, they will collectively discuss. Team will discuss among themselves and then they will decide. Okay, so technical changes will be handled by the team. Commercial changes or business changes or feature related changes or requirement changes, scope changes will be handled by the product owner. That's it. But in traditional, you need these parties because you have spent so much time in planning. And if suddenly something changes, it will impact so many things. So people need to be aware. They need to check that, yes, this change is definitely helpful in the project. Only then it will be approved by CCB. CCB is Change Control Board. Nothing but a group of people that organization has decided who will take up every change one by one and they'll take a decision on it. It could be that they have approved the change, they might reject the change, or they might say that, okay, we will deal with the change later. It is not the priority change, right? Just like a judge in a Supreme Court or any other court for that matter, they say that either convict that person, release that person, or we will take a decision later. They're the same thing. So do you want to accept the change? Do you want to reject the change? Or do you want to discuss later? That's the decision that will be taken by the Change Control Board. Who all comes there? Project manager, yes. Sponsor, yes. It all depends on whom the management wants to add. They can keep the project manager, they cannot keep the project manager. But the decision will always be taken by the group together. That is how changes are managed in the project.